2019 25th Anniversary National Legends Cars Championship is sponsored by 24 Hour Solutions. No problems, only solutions.
The long summer break is over and we are back. Legends Cars Racing here at Donington Park, the 2019 Championship backed by 24 Hour Solutions. The weather looking a bit changeable, a lot of cloud cover at the moment, a little bit of rain in the air which could make things interesting. How interesting? Let's go down into the paddock, talk to some of the drivers and find out. Connor, P6 in the Championship coming out of the summer break. 3 wins, I think, for you so far, but the top 2 guys in the Championship have only had 1 apiece, so that kind of paints a little bit of a picture about Legends Racing.
Yeah, it does, definitely. I mean, where we've been struggling is with the consistency in the car and having some engine issues at both Brands and Anglesey at the previous rounds. So we've had a few DNFs, and that's really sort of hindered our Championship. We was leading after the first round, and now we're 6th. So, but it is still very close, which is good.
Obviously, you feel that the gap is not insurmountable. You can get that back over the remaining rounds.
Yeah, I think possibly by the end of the weekend, if we have a good weekend, it could all turn around. But we've just got to see how race 1 goes today, and I'll tell you after that.
Matt Rainbow, we haven't caught up with you since Brands Hatch, where you made your Legends Cars debut. But what we did see, unfortunately, at Anglesey at the end of day 1 was a nasty roll. First of all, great to see you back. How are things?
Yeah, things are good. I'm happy to be back. Yeah, the car took a lot of rebuilding after the shunt at Anglesey, but yeah, I mean, it's good to be back at Donington. It's my home track. Yeah, I love this place.
The key thing about the Anglesey crash was that you were working your way through the field very quickly, which was nice to see, and I think that surprised some of the regular drivers. But again, going back to that, I guess the car stood up to it well.
Yeah, the race at Anglesey was going pretty well. I think I was on for maybe getting a podium end of the day. Yeah, it was the 3rd to last corner of the last lap of the final, which it's always goes like that. But yeah, I was just working my way up. Fortunately, got contact from the rear, and yeah, that just put me into some barrel rolls and flips and things. But yeah, car stood up to it really well, protected me. So yeah, it's good that it's able to do that.
Jack, really good to see you back, but an injury kept you out of the Brands Hatch meeting. Tell us how that occurred.
Yes, quite weekly I go out on my mountain bike, just keep myself fit, keep myself exercised, and unfortunately I had a coming off and broke my collarbone in quite a severe way. It's been a long recovery, and to be honest, it's still recovering now, as I'm still feeling stiff, but I'm just itching to get back out here, just glad to be back. It's been such a long while to get back out.
Phil, lovely to see you. I know Brands Hatch day 2 you went into the draw for the first time and you started on pole position. How does it feel being a newcomer and going in the mix and finding yourself right in the cut and thrust?
I think just to start with, it's quite an intimidating thought. I think maybe you overthink things just before when you see everybody going. Certainly at Brands Hatch we had a really good time. I say to lead the pack out was quite impressive. And now sitting surrounded by everybody, I think it'll be the first corner will be the telltale sign as to just how well this is going to go.
been a long time since Brands Hatch, our last meeting, and we're in car with Nick Bridgman, starting 18th on the grid. Out front, pole position drawn by Jack Parker with Robin Fountain to his outside. Nathan Anthony's on row 2. We are Legends Cars racing here. Look at this packed grid of Legends Cars heading down into Redgate. Jack Parker, the leader, goes wide. Nathan Anthony in yellow goes on the inside line. The red and black of Robin Fountain is in third place, followed by Connor Mills in blue and silver. In car with Rob King, looking to try and go down through the middle of Nick Bridgman and James Hall-Morton. Made a good run of things through there. Rob was quick in the practice session this morning as Connor Mills tries to challenge for second place. Nathan Anthony in the van is the leader. Connor Mills second, Robin Fountain third. Then Miles Rudman, Miles second in the championship in the black with bright yellow numbering. As we look at the back end of John T. Norman's car from Nick Bridgman. Problems for Mike Schlupp. Looks like he's had a moment, but getting going again very quickly. So it's Nathan Anthony out front. Some of the cars getting onto the grass creek there and looking a little bit squirrely in doing so. As I said at the introduction to the programme, conditions have been very mixed so far today. Connor Mills through into the lead, so Mills leads, Nathan Anthony second, and lots of place swapping, as is the norm in Legends Cars, not just at the start of the race, but you'll find all the way through. And look at Rudman using the outside line. I think that's Cy Harraway bump drafting with him. It is Harraway who comes through. Cy started 7th on the grid next to Miles Rudman. In car, or in van, again with Nathan Anthony going along the Wheatcroft straight and looking to depose Connor Mills, which they've done. If you bump draft, you can do that. So it's Rudman now the leader. Nathan Anthony to the outside, Connor Mills third, Cy Harraway fourth from Robin Fountain. Jack Parker, good to see Jack back with us. Then Mike Borner in the number 5. First time we've seen the number 5 car so far this year, and very good indeed to see it. Be driven by Dave Ward in our next programme as Cy Harraway nips down the inside line of Nathan Anthony to get into a potential podium there, up into third for Cy. James Hall-Morton side by side there in the magenta and silver car, and contact between Borner and Parker. Parker spins around fairly violently. Borner's off into the gravel, will hopefully rejoined. There is 51 Paul Simmons up ahead of James Hall-Morton, then John Mickle, the championship leader. Here's a replay. Watch the blue and yellow car, just touched by Mike Borner, who disappears off to the right of shot, his left. Hopefully will recover. Ricky Leggett having a good run in 26th, the black and white Margrasil car, not being shared by Thomas Granger. Paul Simmons, hand aloft, pulls into pit lane, and I think will be our first retirement of the race. Issues 2 for Phil Turner. No problems, only solutions as he gets going. Again, a very quick recovery. Great to see Phil Turner in the main grid draw again. Started 5th position on the grid. So he's back going as we rejoin Will Gibson, perhaps appropriately here, following John Mickle. Not appropriate that he's following, but working with John. It was John, I think, that introduced Will to Legends Cars Racing as Cy Harraway nips down the inside of Miles Rudman to grab the lead. So it's a quintet for lead position. Harraway starting to build a bit of momentum in van again with Nathan Anthony. Connor Mills immediately in front in the Matt Roach Racing prepared car. Mike Schlupp has caught Bill Reid, so good recovery from Mike Schlupp there. 51 car, Paul Simmons, the reigning Masters champion, out of the race, explaining to his engineer what the problem was with the car, and they'll get that into the garage and fixed as quick as they can for race 2, as Robin Fountain is busy trying to close in on Nathan Anthony. So those 5 effectively the battle for the lead. 6th position, not that far away, but really it's a trio for the lead, and Rudman back in front, or is he? Because Cy Harraway is down the inside line. Harraway, who was very nearly retiring from Legends Cars after an extremely frustrating weekend at Brands Hatch for him, still 4th in the standing. Marcus Pett is out. Marcus Pett, 3rd in the championship standings, is out of the race. It's going to be a topsy-turvy weekend again, I think, for championship positions. So Marcus Pett, one of the favourites for the championship, is out of the race as we ride again with Nathan Anthony side by side with former champion Robin Fountain. They're having a very good race. It won't be too long before we see Rob Fountain, I'm sure, bag a Legends win. Remember, he came back last year after 18 years away, and I make no apology for repeating the fact that he has less Legends Cars racing experience than 2/3 of the field that we've got here. Jack Parker running well. Parker setting some good laps despite being on his own. One would think that perhaps bump drafting would give the fastest laps, but Parker working very effectively on his own at the moment. Again with Nathan Anthony there trying to close it, and Nathan being closed in on by John Mickle, who's gone round the outside of Ricky Leggett. The 26 Margaret Hill car not with Tom Granger sharing this weekend. Tom, remember, picking up a win before. Will Gibson has a look down the inside line of James Hall Morton, bump drafting Ricky Leggett as he does so. This is the battle for the lead, and it's Miles Rudman out front from Cy Haraway. Connor Mills third, then Robin Fountain. Out of the chicane they go. If you get the chance to watch Legends from the pit wall, this is one of the best places to watch as Nathan Anthony, look at that, barely room on the inside line, but he found the space and squeezes down the inside line into fourth place. Great move by Nathan Anthony, judged the track position well. Haraway makes a little mistake, goes wide, punished for that, he's down to third. Gibson and Mickle still working together, but it's Miles Rudman and Connor Mills now first and second. Cy Haraway drops away a little at the moment in third place, but will try and reel them back in. So it's Rudman from Connor Mills. Connor started sixth on the grid alongside Phil Turner on the row ahead of Cy Haraway and Miles Rudman as Marcus Pett helps the marshals push the car away. That's the mark of Marcus, doesn't leave the work to everybody else, gets stuck in and helps. That car will be pushed away to safety. Well, it's still a lead. I tell you what, it's no longer a trio for the lead because we've got about 300 Legends all battling it out for lead position, line astern, and if you watch them as a line go down into Redgate, bump drafting each other, it looks like an art form driving these cars, and that's what some of the drivers make it look like. Connor Mills back in front now, Haraway second, Rudman third, side by side for fourth, still Robin Fountain, but settled in favour of Nathan Anthony, who's back in front, and it's a pack. They're not line astern, they're side by side behind them. Will Gibson chasing John Mickle again down the Wheatcross straight in towards Redgate. The white car coming up in the mix. Centre of shot is Daniel Clark, a returnee to Legends Cars Racing, the Superkart champion. Hopefully we'll talk to him later on in the programme as Rob King goes off on the gravel. Rob King, who was so quick in practice this morning, has a moment on the gravel as we watch the leaders. It's still Connor Mills out front. Cy Haraway second, Nathan Anthony in third, could be on for a podium here as off onto the gravel goes Mike Schlupp. Let's hope that he can rejoin. Here's the battle for lead position, and it's down the inside for Cy Haraway into the chicane. Connor Mills second, Nathan Anthony looking very sharp in the first four vans, 29 vans still there. A little visit into the gravel for Jonty Norman, but well held Jonty, gets it back on track and will rejoin. Good to see Jonty being prepared by ex-racer Stretch Harrison, absolute legend is Stretch, always great to see him and the boys here at Legends Cars Racing. Nathan Anthony though having a very, very good race at the moment in the 29 van, but it's Connor Mills challenging for the lead now. Haraway the leader, Mills in second place, aided by and watched by his dad Steve, an ex-Legends Cars racer himself. Nathan Anthony though keeping a watching brief of the top two, coming up in towards Schwantz, the left-hander. Jack Parker racing with Gerard McCosh. Jack's got fastest lap and running well, as getting towed away there is Kieran Beattie. So our Scottish Championship visitor not having a very happy race one, as Nathan Anthony follows Connor Mills through into second place. Mills leads, Haraway now, well Haraway's going to stick it out on the outside line and try and hold on. John Mickle coming through as well. John Mickle sees a gap, goes for it side by side with Nathan Anthony. This is the battle for third place. Mickle coming through, he's got it, and look, they're coming through. Sean Smith in the 21 car. Sean Smith having a great run from 12th on the grid, up with the leading group now. Now the question is, did I mistake him for Robin Fountain earlier on? Because we were looking at red and black cars thinking Robin Fountain, but Sean's come through. There is Matt Rainbow. Good to see Matt back with us. The door is open on the Dyno Rod 6 car, and it looks like he's going to get a finish, Matt Rainbow. Will Gibson having a very good look. This is a super onboard shot, really gives you the feel for speed as he chases Nathan Anthony once again. Now who's going to win this one? This is going to be absolutely critical. Connor Mills could have timed this to perfection. He's in second place at the moment with John Mickle in the Chrome machine, right behind, and Cy Haraway's under pressure from Connor Mills here. Sean Smith in the mix as well in 4th position, on board with Will Gibson, trying to chase Nathan Anthony. Along Starkey's, up into Schwantz Curve, which is where they are now, coming through into McLean's corner. Then it's the climb uphill into Coppice where we are now. Haraway still leads. Has Haraway peaked too soon, one asks, because he's out front, and you very often can get mugged in Legends cars. And look at that great big line of cars waiting to pounce and see if they can get past. This is going to be all about momentum for Haraway as Mills looks down the inside line. And I was about to say about how he lines himself up as well coming into the last corner. John Mickle's come through. Mickle leads, but Haraway goes deep into the chicane and comes back. Haraway leads out of the chicane. Mickle up to 2nd place. Connor Mills is 3rd, side by side between Rick Leggett and Nathan Anthony, but it's Haraway that takes the checkered flag from John Mickle. Connor Mills in 3rd. A superb Legends Cars race. Tactics right the way to the end, driving skills supreme, and it's Cy Haraway who puts a disappointing Brands Hatch firmly in his rear view mirrors. Haraway takes the win from John Mickle, Connor Mills, Sean Smith next from Will Gibson, Ricky Leggett, Nathan Anthony 7th from Neil Shenton. Good drive from the back for Neil. Nick Bridgman and Miles Rudman completing our top 10 in race number 1. 11th to Daniel Clark from Paul Simkis and Jack Parker. Gerard McCosh next from Pino Palazzo. Then Matt Rainbow, Bill Reid, Mike Borner, John T. Norman and Phil Turner completing the finisher's fastest lap goes to Jack Parker.
So that was an incredible race to watch. How was it in the driving seat?
Tiring, really tiring. I think because it's so windy today, the bump drafting is so important. So it's just picking when to be in front, when to be behind. And, you know, I saw Nathan coming, so I thought now I've got to make my move, get past Connor. And Connor was just stuck to my bumper the whole way, the same as I was when I was behind him. So lovely clean race, really happy. It's nice to be back with a win, and we'll just try and get a few more now.
John, congratulations, a fine drive, and what a classic Legends Cars race that was.
Yeah, it was a full grid, cars going everywhere. I think everybody's just getting back in the swing of things after the break. A lot of crashes, and it was just surviving really. It was going off in the gravel traps all about the place. So yeah, we had a good start from the 16th. Back bumper's been wiped off, so someone's had a bit of a go at us. But no, we can't complain. We finished 2nd, we started near the back, so if the rest of the weekend's as good as this, then we'll be out of a good weekend.
James, sorry to butt in while you're busy. What's the story from race 1 and what's happening?
Well, we put that with a new engine for this weekend. All were well, fast and happy with the car. Pulled out of the slipstream of the 4-car, John, and it just lost power and just cut out, so called it a do. And got the spare in now, so hopefully we can get some points now.
How long to change?
Well, flat out, so probably been about an hour, and still a bit left to do now, but run the home straight and just get it fired up and see if this one will run as good as that one.
We'll let you crack on. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck, mate.
Thank you.
Connor, congratulations on the podium. The pace seems to be there now. Very fraught race, though.
Yeah, definitely. As you said, the pace is back. We've got the engine power back, which is good. It's enough to keep us there and thereabouts now. So, yeah, the pace is back, but it was a tough race.
How do you deal with that? Do you know, if you have a moment off, you come back on, focus? I watched the cars as they went out for qualifying, and you look absolutely focused on that, even though it's not actually qualifying, it's practice. So do you get into a zone and stay there?
Yeah, exactly that. I think once you get in, you go into sort of a different mindset and I try and block just everything out, and then it's just focusing on the race and the task at hand. Like you said, in qualifying, we had a strategy. We needed to find out that what we had changed has actually worked. So I had to actually give it something in qualifying, whereas usually you just sort of poodle around and make sure it doesn't fall apart. But we had to really give it something. The pace is there, the car feels good. We made some setup changes in the right direction, so confident. Good looking forwards.
What a pleasure it is to welcome back Daniel Clark to Legends. How many years, Daniel?
13, I think. Yeah, 2007, I think. 6 or 7 was last year. But yeah, loving being back though.
I think your first season, turning the clock right back, you were second in the rookie championship to Chris Grieve, who then went on to be a multiple champion. So I won't say you went under the radar, but Greavy was obviously a tough man to be up against in those early years. But you've just come back, first race, back of the grid, you came through, you're up in the top 10, bit of a skirmish, and then, well, you tell us the story.
Yeah, I just caught the front of the pack up, and coming into Fog S's, somebody just drove in the back of us. He's been in to say sorry, so it's all good. But yeah, I lost a few places for that, and then once I'd lost the pack and the toe, I was kind of just sitting by myself for the rest of the race. But yeah, all good fun.
A little bit of a play, but a full-on assault next year.
Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, there's a 2-car team next year. My fiance, is coming into it next year as well. Should be out for brands with that. And yeah, really looking forward to next year, basically. Full assault, basically. Go for it.
Delighted to see Paul Platt here, 5 times MSA British Supercar champion, amongst many other titles as well. So what is it that brings you to watch Legends cars?
It's my old teammate, Daniel Clark. We raced for many years against each other. A bit like Lewis and Nico, shall we say, back in the day. So yeah, we've raced against each other for many years, helped each other out, and we both won the British Championships together. So he's moved on, and I've come to have a look and see what it's all about.
What do you think so far? You've seen Daniel out in one race. He did very well off the back.
Yeah, well, he's not a bad driver. I taught him well. Yeah, no, he's a good driver. It's interesting to see that he's already on the pace, and it's virtually out of the box. So no, he's got another car, so we're in a bit of a talks, and you may even see us both having a bit of a battle again someday.
Race 2, and Nick Bridgman, you can see there to the right of shot, he's actually on the 3rd row of the grid. Front row, Mike Schlupp and Will Gibson. Matt Rainbow, row 2 with Robert King, then Nick Bridgman and Marcus Pett. John Mickle, row 4 with Paul Simmons. That indicates how far the number 4 car came through in the first race. In actual fact, he was 16th on the grid, so he did a lot of work to get up onto the podium, and that's indicative of John's pace so far this weekend. The clouds are gathering though, and here they come across the line. That was a very good orderly start from the massed ranks of the Legends cars. On board with Nathan Anthony again on the outside line of Connor Mills. We've got Paul Simkis, I think, immediately up ahead in the 99 car. It's a great start from Will Gibson, the outside of the front row. Gibson leads, Rob King second. Paul Simmons from 8th is up into 3rd in yellow, so a good start from Paul Simmons. So Matt Rainbow in the mix there as well, just down behind Nick Bridgman. John T. Norman to the outside line of the van of Nathan Anthony. Connor Mills next up from Paul Simkis. So they've all made a good start. Bill Reid busy chasing Pino Palazzo in the 75 car, another of our guest racers. A few of the Scottish drivers having made the trip down to race with us under the watchful eye of Andrew Donald. Always good to see Andrew and the boys here. Inside line there for Miles Rudman, makes the pass. James Hall Morton, be keen to see whether the spare engine is better behaved than the first choice motor. On board again with John T. Norman. There is Matt Rainbow on the outside line. Matt keeping a good line, and John T. able to go through on the inside of this year's rookie. Paul Simkis in the mix as well. Matt Rainbow not looking too happy speed-wise, has to straight line the chicane there. Daniel Clark goes through on his outside. Daniel also joined, as well as Paul Platt, another multiple kart champion. Chris Needham is here as well, and he might be having a go at Legends cars at some point. As John Mickle passes Rob King. Mickle through, that's into 3rd place. Rob King down to 4th, but will try and follow the multi-champion, the championship leader, who extended the championship lead in race number 1. So John Mickle and Miles Rudman moving clear of Marcus Pett, who had that retirement in that race. He will start the final a little bit closer to the front, because remember, it's the points added together from races 1 and 2 which determine the grid for the last race of each round. But the lesser scoring drivers, and was there a wag of the finger there from Connor Mills? Nick Bridgman very close to him. Nick's been getting some good pace as well. Some real standout drives in race number 1 for me. Neil Shenton from the back of the grid into 8th. John Mickle from 16th up onto the podium. Daniel Clark obviously did a round in Scotland, but up to 11th from 28th on the grid. And we saw Ricky Leggett getting 6th position in race number 1, which was a super result. But the man leading this one is Will Gibson, who's 5th in race number 1. So some decent points on the way for Will Gibson. His aim, of course, is to win the round. He'll want to win races along the way, but they'll all be thinking of the silverware at the end of the day, which is for all the points over 3 races. So you can get that without winning all 3. Sorry, Haraway's on a mission again. Haraway through on the inside line of Rob King there in the 74. So Haraway working his way through the order as well. Not that shy of John Mickle at the moment, as Rob King tries to take the battle back to Cy Haraway. He won't be that far away from top 3 in the championship again in this round, as we watch John Mickle leading them down into the old hairpin once again. Will Gibson, a 5th position in race number 1, and he leads the group here. Marcus Pett having better fortunes in this one, and be keen to try and get back into 3rd position in the championship standings. The good news, of course, for Marcus is that if you have a non-finish in race 1, it means you're probably going to start the final a little bit further up, as Rob King is challenged by Miles Rudman, second in the championship. Rudman King has to do a little bit of straight lining there to avoid maybe getting into contact with the number 7 car, but it's Will Gibson out front still from John Mickle. Mike Borner up ahead of Gerard McCosh. Kieran Beattie, I think that was, in the 33 car, just ahead of Mike. Had a problematic race one in that little incident with Jack Parker, but running okay here at the moment. Paul Simkis at the head of this group, turning in now. Then it is indeed the 33 car of Kieran Beattie. Beattie-mon, as we call him. Mike Borner looking down the inside line. Pino Palazzo at the back of that group as Rick Leggett tries to close in there on Marcus Pett. Leggett in black and white, the Margrassil car. Then Nathan Anthony, James Hall Morton. They're fairly well strung out at the moment, but as I say, some very good points battles. The points a little bit complicated because you've got some visitors who aren't National Championship registered. So if you're battling with people, there are going to be thoughts as to exactly how many people in front of you are scoring National Championship points. Most of them are, but there's the odd interloper here or there who you don't have to worry about in terms of scoring points or taking points away from you, as John Mickle challenges for the race lead. Mickle goes through. John Mickle leads. Will Gibson down to 2nd. John Mickle. Well, this is these two, remember. Gibson 5th in race 1. John Mickle 2nd. So these two are going to be, if they maintain this position, will be starting off the back of the grid for race 3, and they'll be in a very good position for the day's overall silverware. Mike Borner closing down on Matt Rainbow. There's Pino Palazzo, as I think James Hall Morton coming into pit lane. It's not James Hall Morton's day. More work to do for James and his dad Pete, his granddad as well. Here comes Will Gibson once again. Gibson now is passed by Sean Smith, who made a lot of progress in race number 1 as well. So it's Sean Smith now up into 2nd place. John Mickle is the race leader, and Will Gibson, having started at the front, led in the early stages down to 3rd. The great thing about Legends is they are all equal cars. I tell you what, Paul Simmons looking pretty handy here as well. Simmons is at the back of this trio. Sean Smith looks for the lead, climbing up into Coppice. Simmons is there. Gap back to Connor Mills. Miles Rudman is next up. Then it's Cy Haraway, Marcus Pett, Nathan Anthony on the pace as well, as Cy Haraway is challenged now by Marcus Pett, who looks down the inside line, and Nathan's going to follow them. No, he's not following, he's going for the inside line. That was great stuff by Nathan Anthony, but look at Cy Haraway. Very late on the brakes from Haraway. That was very fast indeed into the chicane. Haraway really seems to have that nailed. He wants to try and close down on Connor Mills, who's immediately in front of him. Miles Rudman with Connor Mills, the leading quartet go through. This is for 5th place. You can probably hear, as I can, the crowd at Redgate shouting about who should be winning. Nathan Anthony still chasing Cy Haraway. Nathan having a very good run of things at the moment, but it's still Mickle from Smith and Gibson at the minute, coming down through the crane. Goes into the old hairpin now along Starkey's. Paul Simmons trying to close in after his retirement in race number 1. There's going to be a fair few problems for Phil Turner. Has a gyration, gets going again. As we said in race number 1, no problems, he just carries on with it. Again, if you find the limit, if you exceed the limit, it means you found it. So Phil will know and will have learned from that as we rejoin Will Gibson coming up to Coppice in 3rd place, but by no means being left by the two guys out front. Sean Smith still in 2nd, John Mickle the race leader. Massive fight going on for 4th place behind them, which is now the domain of Miles Rudman in black and yellow, but Sean Smith trying to pull clear with John Mickle here. Sean Smith 5th in the championship coming into this round, and I tell you what, Sean, gritty racer, very consistent and fast racer as well, is going to be, I think, one of the drivers in with a shout when we get towards the end of the season for sure. But we're on the last lap and it's John Mickle looking for win number 2. Nathan Anthony goes onto the grass. Nathan, is he going to rejoin or is it going to be into retirement? It looks like retirement, sadly, for the Savan. That's a shame. Nathan's been running well and driving well. But John Mickle here looking for the second win of the season, but Sean Smith goes through but goes a little bit wide and John Mickle comes back. Will Gibson comes back as well. Gibson saw that and Sean Smith, it was a dive for the lead. He carried a little bit too much speed and John Mickle managed to pass him, so it's Mickle in first place, Gibson second, Smith in third, and John Mickle, as we said, looking for that second win of the season. Up to Coppice, the championship leader, looking in fine fettle here. Rudman fourth, Paul Simmons in fifth place from Connor Mills, then Cy Haraway, Marcus Pett in that group as well, as Will Gibson gets closer to John Mickle and will look at the outside line right behind him, and bump drafting him through into the lead is Sean Smith. Gibson's got the lead. Sean Smith back into second place. What a recovery from Sean Smith, and he come out of the chicane and it's going to be Will Gibson who takes the checkered flag from Sean Smith. Look at that, they're side by side. Gibson, Smith, Mickle the 1, 2, 3. Here comes Rick Leggett, he's down in 12th place at the moment. Mike Borner is 13th. They've had a great drive right the way through to the checkered flag, but again, Legends Cars drama right the way through this 10-lap race, and it was Will Gibson who takes his first win of the year. Very nearly overlooked that fact. Sean Smith second, John Mickle third from Miles Rudman and Paul Simmons. Cy Haraway sixth, Connor Mills seventh from Marcus Pett. Daniel Clark into the top 10 this time, in 9th from the back. Nick Bridgman in 10th, good result for him. 11th goes to Mike Schlupp from Ricky Leggett, then Mike Borner and Matt Rainbow. Neil Shenton ahead of Pino Palazzo, Bill Reid, Kieran Beattie, Paul Simkis and Phil Turner. Fastest lap in that one on lap 2 goes to Connor Mills. Let's go down to Victory Lane and chat to our podium finishers.
Well, congratulations. A great win, but also a good result in race number 1 means you're going to be off the back in the final. But back to this one, Legends is so tactical, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great race. I mean, at the beginning it was just get the head down and just try and go, and then when John came past, it was just trying to work with him and try and pull clear of Sean and the others. But unfortunately, Sean was so fast; he was probably the quickest out of the top guys. It didn't take long for him to get back past me. And then, yeah, I mean, at the end, it's all just kind of pot luck and who wants to help who.
Another very good Legends race, Sean. And I was saying to Will, you know, it's tactical to some degree, isn't it, Legends racing?
It is. You've got to wait and pick your moment, especially on these fast tracks, because the draft is so good here. You have just got to sit and wait and just hope you have a good last lap, really.
He said he wouldn't have won it without a little bit of help, should we say?
Yeah, that was it. It was. I moved out from John and got on the back of Will, and he seemed to have a bit more of a better run than John down there, and I went through with him, so really good.
John, the only driver to make it onto the podium twice in the first 2 races, that's a great way to start the weekend.
Yeah, that's a good start to the weekend. We had a bit of drizzle or rain in the middle of that race, what made it a little bit interesting. Not a lot, but enough. But as you see on the last lap, 2 cars around here is quicker than 1, and I couldn't do nothing about them, so it was as it was. I thought I got it, but they just hooked up together and come through like a train.
Marcus, 4 wins so far this year. I think made you the most successful driver in terms of wins coming to this meeting, but no luck today so far?
Not yet. We've had an engine issue in Heat 1, which has put us on the back foot slightly. A solid result there in Heat 2, so hopefully for a better final to try and salvage some points out of the day.
Win number 5.
That'd be lovely. Yeah, so we'll push for it, but a strong top 3 finish would be good. So we'll see what we can do.
James, what happened in race 2?
At the top of the cam cover, a little bolt just sheared, and it just started pouring oil out, and out at the end of that one.
Mike, good to see you here. How have things been today?
I've had a mixed couple of races. The first one, I ended up with a bent bumper pushing my wheel, so the steering was a bit out and I span a couple of times. But then second race I was off pole and ended up 11th, which I'm fairly happy with. I sort of hung on to it and kept it on the track, so it's always a bonus for me.
Nathan, how's the van behaving itself today?
Yeah, we had a good first race. That was good. The second race, I was off the back, and we were making good progress, and I made a mistake, and I clipped the tyres coming into the chicane, and it snapped the steering arm, so I ended up not finishing.
Robin Fountain on pole position, immediately in front of us, just to our right is James Hall-Morton. There's a gap where Rob King should be, but I think he will take the start. Lights out here at Donington, and we're in car with Nick Bridgman, back end of Paul Simkis. Nick goes wide, and as they come down into Redgate, it's Jonty Norman leading from Jack Parker. James Hall-Morton is third. Fourth place side by side Marcus Pett and Robin Fountain as Nick Bridgman goes on the grass. I'm going to ask him about that in interview afterwards. He hates interviews, always runs from the camera as Jack Parker takes the lead now from James Hall-Morton. Nathan Anthony about to pass Robin Fountain, challenging Marcus Pett as well. Outside line down at the old hairpin, but it's Jack Parker out front. A little bit of a wide moment there for James Hall-Morton. Paul Simkis comes out in sympathy as well in the 99. There's Gerard McCosh in the 69. Jonty Norman is at the moment down in fourth place, but this is a good opening lap from Jonty, who's going to try and fight back and repass Marcus Pett, but it's Parker from Hall-Morton. Mike Borner in car number 5, chased by Connor Mills. Connor scoring fairly consistently today. Top point scorer thus far today is John Mickle, unsurprisingly, from Wilco. And look at that, through the middle. Goodness me, that really gave you a feel for the speed of these Legends cars. Marcus Pett on the inside line. I tell you what, Jonty Norman is in second place. It's a great opening lap from Jonty Norman. It won't be long before we see him finish on the podium at that rate, as there is an issue in yellow and blue for Jack Parker. Marcus Pett through into second. Third place now Nathan Anthony. So Jonty was fourth, now fifth because Paul Simmons going through as well. Will Gibson looking at Miles Rudman, who momentarily is on the grass. John Mickle making great progress from 21st place on the grid. A lot of work to do, but remember, has an extra 2 laps in this one. This is a 12 lapper as opposed to the 10 laps races 1 and 2. Will Gibson chasing Miles Rudman, about to try and pass Mike Borner, going up through Schwantz corner and up into McLean's. He's on the inside line. Mike's seen him, and there's contact there. Big contact with Cy Haraway out of the race. I think Robin Fountain out again as well. Not the meeting for Robin Fountain or Cy Haraway, although Cy did get the win in race number 1. But Haraway out of the race. Bitter disappointment for him as Nathan Anthony challenges James Hall-Morton for the lead. J&M leading the van in second, but there's more to that story as we look at Paul Simmons on the outside line in the more mustardy yellow, up into second place. So good stuff for Simmons, up into second. We've got some fast drivers running off the front of the grid in this one, and also the likes of Connor Mills has come through from 17th on the grid. That is not what we want to see. Jack Parker coming up into pit road and into retirement. Nathan Anthony still busy challenging James Hall-Morton, but it's Paul Simmons now the leader from Connor Mills. Nathan Anthony in third place, Marcus Pett chasing James Hall-Morton. Sean Smith up in the mix as well, so Smith has come through from 19th on the grid. Then Miles Rudman, who started 16th, so there's a lot of work to do in race 3. Matt Rainbow still in the mix as well. He's having a battle with Nick Bridgman. Nick had reasonable scoring in the heats, actually finished in started this race 14th, so a fair way back for Nick Bridgman, scoring well. So past Jonty Norman goes Mike Schlupp. Will Gibson in the mix as well, trying to fight his way through, perhaps towards the day's overall honours, although at the moment one would be tempted to say it's going to be Sean Smith or John Mickle who will get that. Mike Schlupp though driving well in the number 3 car. Across the line go the leaders once again, and it's Paul Simmons out front, but could get mugged here. We've seen how the bump drafting can work. Connor Mills all over the back of him. Then Nathan Anthony in third, Sean Smith fourth. James Hall-Morton, we saw win at Brands Hatch earlier on in the year, is in the mix as well. Trio for the lead. Bit of a gap back between third and fourth position, fourth and fifth together, and another small gap before 6th place. In fact, that closes up now because Miles Rudman closing up. Paul Simmons goes over the grass. A little mistake, I think, from Simmons. And that will open up the lead again, so the complexion will change once again. That Rainbow being chased by Rob King, who was due to start on the front, but Rob did make it out onto track. Very heavily waved yellows there to recover Cy Haraway's car. Nathan Anthony working hard. And let's see what he can do about Sean Smith in front of him. He's going to work with Sean, but Paul Simmons back through, so Simmons in the lead. Nathan Anthony now second, so the yellow fella's out front at the moment. Sean Smith third, bun fight for 4th place. James Hall-Morton still there, and we've got John Mickle in the pack as well. Daniel Clark's come through in the 14. Remember, Clark in the white 14, not scoring championship points. He's going to have a full-on tilt at the championship next year, and I think we'll see him and his fiancée possibly at Brands Hatch, LB Charlton, who's here watching, and be great to see those two competing in next year's championship. Here's Will Gibson again, putting pressure on Connor Mills. Those two, believe it or not, at the tail end of the top 10. It's Anthony and Simmons out front. Oh, Simmons gets a big amount of opposite lock at the old hairpin. He's on the grass, he held it well, he's still on track. A lesser driver would have speared off into the grass towards the gravel trap, but Simmons holds on, just loses a place or so. We'll take start, the door open on Rob King's car. So Rob with a little bit of an aerodynamic problem there. But at least he is out in this race, Rob King. He's shown good pace, but just hasn't been able to sort it out. Jack Parker keeping to the outside of the track. It's good driving from Jack Parker there in the 13. Allows the fight through. And Nathan Anthony, this is the battle for the lead, and it's Miles Rudman out front now. So Rudman goes through. You can see Paul Simmons in mustard is a little bit further back after that moment off the track earlier on. He's got Daniel Clark right with him. In car with Anthony. Bang! On the back end of Miles Rudman. Will Gibson busy chasing Marcus Pett here, Connor Mills as well. Look at this group of cars side by side by side. You don't see this in any other car racing in the UK. I challenge you to find any track that is as crowded as you just saw there. Sure, other formulae have great racing, but not in the volumes that you see from this lead group, and we're halfway through the final, remember. Will Gibson down the inside line. Gibson busy challenging Nathan Anthony, but now coming under pressure from Marcus Pett in the dark grey car. Here's the view of that. Pett immediately behind us, remnants of Starkey's Bridge to the right of shot. Pett piling on the pressure. We now look frontwards from Will Gibson. Nathan Anthony right ahead of us, but it's Miles Rudman leading from Sean Smith. At the moment, is Rudman going to pick up another win? Sean Smith in second at the moment from James Hall-Morton. Gibson decides to work with Nathan Anthony momentarily, now comes out of the slipstream, down the outside line. Can he work the brakes better into the chicane? We won't know. He's trying to. He's in the black and blue car, can't do it. Nathan Anthony holds on to position. And we broke the steering in the previous race. This is where Nathan pulled up. That was a good piece of driving to pull up well out of harm's way in race number 2. A little bit further back, full Simkiss, there is Neil Shenton, who was very rapid in race number 1. The Shent Events 35 car not looking quite as sharp this time out, unfortunately, as James Hall-Morton pulls off. James Hall-Morton having a miserable meeting, but gets back on. Was that a little mistake from James or not? I don't know, but he's lost out from a potential win here. Will Gibson still dicing hard with Nathan Anthony. Anthony getting stuck into Connor Mills now. That's for 4th place. Here comes Will again. Let's have a look at Sean Smith still out front. Miles Rudman second. John Mickle now is in 3rd place. John Mickle, real stealth mode. So too for Miles Rudman. Surely the winner is going to come from these 3. Rudman challenges Smith. John Mickle, who will be, and a little bit of straight lining there from Sean Smith. Same too from Connor Mills. Oh, boy, with Will Gibson, who gets a little bit of a tap there from Nathan Anthony as they come back onto the track. But the lead trio starting to try and pull clear, and it's John Mickle at the back of the trio at the moment in the Chrome 4. Looks to the outside line. Miles Rudman is the leader. There is Connor Mills in 4th. Paul Simmons has pulled it all back and is in 5th place. Great driving by Simmons. Anthony and Gibson here, all giving chase to the race leaders. Relentless 12-lap race. This is probably the best 16 minutes of racing you'll see in the UK. Rudman out front, Smith in second, Mickle a little bit adrift at the moment in 3rd, but I think he's got time to close in on that group. There is Ricky Leggett busy chasing the 68 car of Nick Bridgman. Nick about to have a little stab at Matt Rainbow as Bill Reid has a spin in the 67. And Bill will get going again and rejoin, a little way down the order, but still picking up valuable championship points for Bill Reid. Here's the race for the lead. It's very nearly one big block of cars again, because the lead trio have been caught and they're fighting it out. Mickle goes wide. Paul Simmons has come back through. Simmons up into third ahead of Mickle. Great recovery from Paul Simmons, who seems to be driving right on the edge. We've seen him go off. We've seen him opposite lock. Daniel Clark's in the mix as well. Don't discount Clark from a podium as we pick up on Paul Simkis and Gerard McCosh having a very good race. That's for 18th position. Gerard always finds somebody to race with as the leaders go on to the last lap down into Redgate. Rudman the leader. Sean Smith looks to the inside line. Paul Simmons on the outside. John Mickle back in fourth. Will Gibson fifth. Nathan Anthony in sixth place ahead of Connor Mills. But this one has got Miles Rudman written all over it. He leads, but remember the bump drafting effect. If the ones behind can work together, they might be able to reel in the Midlander. It's Rudman leading. Sean Smith in second place from Paul Simmons. John Mickle is back in fourth. Very valuable points by my mathematics. Mickle will win the day with fourth position here. Coming up into McLean's, the uphill climb towards Coppice Corner where our camera is, and it's Miles Rudman in front. Has he peaked too soon though? You can see Paul Simmons having a look around the outside line. Smith goes on the inside into second place. Simmons is going to try the run here. John Mickle might get a whiff of third place here if the doors open. Maybe aided and abetted by Black and Blue 57 Will Gibson. In car with Gibson. They look to the outside rather than the inside. And Mickle's got around the outside of two cars. And Mickle's got the lead from fourth place. Gibson up into third. Gibson up into second. Little bit of straight lining, but it's John Mickle who is going to take the checkered flag. He was fourth at the start of the lap and takes the checker. Mickle wins. Will Gibson second, Paul Simmons third, Sean Smith is fourth. What a Legends cars finish. That's why we all love it. Still racing. Nick Bridgman challenging Matt Rainbow. That's for 13th place. Ricky Legger up ahead of them in 12th position. Mike Borner in behind. They'll take the checker as well. Mike Schlupp got 11th. James Hall-Morton finished in 10th. But what a race. And John Mickle from 4th place at the start of the last lap just read things superbly and takes the win from Will Gibson and Paul Simmons. Sean Smith in 4th from Miles Rudman and Nathan Anthony. Connor Mills 7th from Marcus Pett. Daniel Clark 9th from James Hall-Morton. Mike Schlupp was 11th from Ricky Leggett and Matt Rainbow. Then it was Nick Bridgman and Mike Borner. Neil Shenton 16th from Gerard McCosh. Dino Palazzo. Then Paul Simkis and Bill Reid. The fastest lap on lap 9, three-quarter distance for Paul Simmons, who's looked quick all day long. But here is our overall winner, John Mickle.
John, what a day. You know, I know we were saying earlier on you couldn't quite believe you were in the lead of the championship coming into the break. You've come out of it and you've extended the lead, and another win in an absolute classic Legends Cars race.
Yeah, no, we've touched wood today. We've had some luck. The quick steel car has been really quick. I think it's enjoyed the rest just as much as me coming here, so it's found some legs today.
Well, congratulations, and you look like you've been in a race, I've got to be honest, and a close one at that.
Yeah, that was hard work. I mean, I think generally any of the top group could have won that race. It was just kind of pick your partner and just tandem bump draft to the line. So, yeah, I mean, that's fantastic Legends racing.
Paul, many congratulations, third position. What a classic Legends Cars race that was.
It was, yeah, from the front to 8th, then right the way back to 3rd. Yeah, it was good, yeah, really good.
You can see why you guys enjoy this formula so much, and we didn't know until the last corner who was going to even fill the podium.
No, we didn't know ourselves either. It was just tussling all the time, but it was a really, really good race.
The end of a great day's racing here at Donington Park, and the overall winner with 3 podiums. John Mickle from Will Gibson, then Sean Smith, Connor Mills 4th from Miles Rudman, Cy Harraway in 6th, then Paul Simmons and Ricky Leggett 8th. 9th was Nick Bridgman, and in 10th place Nathan Anthony. We'll leave you with your winner, John Mickle, and look forward to your company again next time from Donington Park.